Welcome to another SPbN production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing dire of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the worm forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the nightmare die. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Rock will never hide.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network. St. Petersburg by Night is an online World of Darkness role-playing community originated in St. Petersburg, Florida, but now spreading its little fingers across the world and bringing others into our sticky little web. My name is Kent, also known as Misha Kent on all social media, and I will be your storyteller tonight. And it's Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle set in the city of Tampa Bay, Florida, where a sept of Guru, known as the Sept of the Evening Star, attempt to combat the forces of the worm, both physical and spiritual. But before we get to all that, you should go follow St. Pete by Night on all of that social media you see listed down below. And if you like what you see, you should become a member of our Ko-fi, where you can unlock all this amazing behind the scenes content, including our Rosebud Thorns, including some cool artwork that's going to be debuting soon, including some exclusive content. And I hear that there's even going to be a sneak peek of our upcoming Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle, known as Red Tide Rising, exclusive only to Ko-fi members first. So if that doesn't give you a good reason to sign up, then maybe me begging for your support in this channel and community might just do the trick. So please, 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 please go sign up for the Ko-fi. It's as low as $5 a month, and we really, really appreciate it. Enough of all of that. Let's get to the reason we're here tonight, Rage Across Tampa, by introducing the amazing players who make this game possible. Players, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves, if you please?
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ, Champagne, Rubber Baby Buggy Bumpers. There we go. We got it. And I will be playing Aspen Wise, Philodox of the Silverfangs.
Good job, champ. Hi, I'm Nori, and I'll be playing Malicious Jester, the Galliard of the Black Furies.
How's it going, everyone? My name's Preston. I play Jason Dreams and Decay Thorn, Theurge of the Bonar.
How now, brown cow? My name is Nicholas. I'll be playing Izzy, aka Entwined Smiles with Claws, a Arun child of Gaia.
And I am Knack, and I will be playing Murphy, the unknown as of yet. Peter Piper picked a pepper peck of nope.
It's not as easy as it looks, folks. It's tongue twisters for a reason. Anyway, let's get everyone caught up on what happened last week. Speaking of Murphy, Murphy decided to look into the program known as Odie, the hacking program that had allowed him to be counter-hacked when he tried to explore a small law firm known as Pelfrey and Weiss. In doing so, he checked some messaging forums and some old hacker forums where he encountered someone known as Tumbleweed. And after a little bit of back and forth, they decided to set up a meet. And he was introduced to Tumbleweed as someone we all know as Suni, who had some interesting insight into the goings-on of the city, especially surrounding Ballard, Anderson, and Baitman, which only stoked Murphy's curiosity more. But, you know, it's good to make friends, especially when your fate is yet to be revealed, and Murphy made a friend of sorts in Suni. We then saw Aspen and the leader of the Hellhounds, Raymond, have a little bit of a conversation on their way to a swamp where they called forth the spirit of Hashigat. But Hashigat didn't appear as the small little lizard serpent that we had seen before. They were inhabiting an individual with glowing eyes, and as they spoke, he and Aspen struck a deal of sorts that nobody would interfere with the business, well, at least nobody in the Sept would interfere with the business that was going on between Hashigat and Raymond, which puts Raymond in a bit of a pickle. But also Aspen was able to find out some very valuable information as to what Hashigat's been up to ever since he was forcefully ejected from Lucas when Lucas joined the cairn, joined himself with the cairn. More to be revealed with that over time. And then we saw Jace and Eliza have a conversation where Jace filled Eliza in on the conversation he'd had with Ishu and what would be required of him in order to free Ishu. And Eliza was able to give some insight, but really what it comes down to is Jace is going to have to find the previous owner of the staff, a man known as Moses, who appears to be a magister or a mage of some kind who actually created the staff and is the only one who can safely undo that magic and shatter the staff without unleashing a bunch of wild force into the area that could potentially be reality bending or altering. Then we saw Jester confronted by Artie. Artie, having not seen Jester as much as usual for quite some time, had some terse words to say before ultimately apologizing, as a good addict does, for the wrongs he had done before he had found his way to recovery. Jester, of course, forgave him, telling him that she understood, but he still feels repentant in the matter and does not like being cut out of what's going on in her life. Hopefully, more repairs to that relationship will come in time. And then finally, Isidoro arrived in Georgia at the Sept of the Fertile Soil, and after getting very little information from the elders, he encountered a young guru named Terrance. Terrance, who had had a lot of previous experience with the Sept from Florida, was able to have a bit of a heart-to-heart, a come-to-Gaia moment with the child of Gaia in telling him that maybe anger wasn't the right approach and that nobody is perfect. Has this changed Isidoro's mind going into this meeting with the Sept in Tampa? Has he resolved his issues of vengeance with the Silver Fang known as Charles? Come on now, it wouldn't be the World of Darkness if it all worked out that cleanly. But Terrance agreed to escort him to Tampa and help in making his introduction to the Sept, something that we will see later on tonight. But as our story begins, let's start with our Sept leader, who is having a reconnection with a rather strange individual who has caused some strange goings-on in the area. Aspen, you received a text message a couple nights back from Suni that said, "Do you smell what I smell?" This prompted a whole bunch of questions in your mind on top of the pre-existing questions you had for Suni after having seen a coyote and a bear enter the Umbra during the assault on Piney Point, which kind of clears up some illusions as to Suni's true origin, having been believed to be a silent strider for quite some time, and never correcting anybody on that assumption. So now, as you have invited her to meet you at the cairn, what's going through your mind before she arrives?
This girl always has some mystery attached to her. And it's frustrating, but it's also really intriguing. So getting some clarifying questions out of the way of exactly what she's doing here and why she came to be at Piney Point of all places with us, as well as her mysterious text message that she brings along. Just trying to get some clarification and also get maybe a bit closer to her, knowing that she's lingering around.
So you would set a meeting time for the early afternoon, and as you have prepared yourself at the cairn, sitting at the table as you often do when waiting for someone to arrive, the time of the meeting hits and then passes. And about 10 minutes go by before, at the edge of the clearing of the woods, the young woman known as Suni, with her tan skin, her very curly, dark brown hair, her luminous eyes, and her dazzling smile, enters into the clearing of the cairn. Because of the warmer weather, as Florida has started to heat up again recently, she's wearing very short shorts, a crop top with a button-up tied loosely over it with very short sleeves, and a wide-brimmed ranger's hat, I guess is the best way to put it. She also is, of course, adorned around her neck and wrists with the aquamarine or turquoise jewelry that she is often known to sport. As she approaches, she gives a wink and a smile and says, "Better to be fashionably late than never arrive at all, of course. Sorry to keep you waiting."
Wasn't too long, but you know, you seem to live on your own time, so I can't say that I'm surprised, and I mean that not as a compliment.
Is there any better way to live? So what can I do for you, Aspen?
Well, I feel like we have plenty to talk about after everything at Piney Point and your interesting text message.
Well, the text message I can speak to, but I have no idea what you mean about Piney Point.
I think we both know that the proverbial, should I say, coyote is out of the bag.
That's no fun. Anyway, are we sitting? Are we standing? Are we walking? What are we doing?
Yeah, come sit. You can sit at the table.
She moves up to one of the hand-carved stools and sits herself upon it before kicking her booted feet up onto the table and leaning back. But as there's nothing to lean on, she seems to be just holding herself up with her hands folded behind her head, her core completely engaged, but seemingly unperturbed by the entire affair. All right, so where do you wish to begin?
I guess we can start with what really brought you here. What have you heard, and what do you know about the cairn? Because that seems to be the reason that many of you have migrated this way.
Well, I suppose I'm here for the same reason the others are here. Curiosity, a strange sensation tickled up my spine, and I just had to know what it was. You see, I'm an individual who knows a great deal, and when I encounter something I don't know, I need to know. Besides, I knew that something was happening out here. We hear rumors, you see, and catch wind of the events, and you're making quite a stir, Miss Weiss, you and your companions, enough that word has reached even as far as Arizona. And again, it's the cold time of year. It seemed appropriate to go somewhere a little bit warmer, because even the desert gets cold.
How very silent Strider of you.
If someone wishes to assume, why correct them?
It's a great way to fly under the radar. I don't blame you.
But yes, I wanted to see what all the hubbub was about, as well as investigate that strange sensation that occurred. And, well, the rest you already know. Of course, my companion wouldn't let me come alone. See, he's a little bit more distrusting of the lupine variety and wanted to make sure that I was going to be safe. And, well, I've felt nothing but welcome here. And despite his reservations, I've been having a good time, feeling very accommodated. You've been very hospitable.
I appreciate that. And are we ever going to get a proper introduction from your friend?
Oh, I don't know about that. We'll see. I think the more time passes and the more we prove that all is well here and that the big, bad, scary wolves aren't going to be, causing the extinction of species again anytime soon, then maybe he'll be feeling more amenable.
Yeah, our past doesn't do us any favors, that's for sure.
No, it doesn't.
But hopefully, I can't speak for the nation as a whole, but I know here you all are welcome, and hopefully he'll see that as you guys stick around. Are you planning to stick around?
Oh, there's still so much to understand, so much to unpack about this whole situation, because it's nice to come upon some very welcoming Guru, and that's all fine and good, but why it happened, what it all means, that's still very, very curious. Because if I felt it, that's great, but who else felt it? And is it really a good thing? Or is it just a lure of sorts to draw all the other fair out of hiding just to repeat the process again? I know that's not your intention necessarily, but can you speak to this place? Can you speak to those that dwell here and their intentions truly?
I absolutely could. It's just been us for such a long time. I feel like I know everyone quite well.
I didn't mean the living, darling.
Well, I think the living is part of the intentions here. It's where you start until you can move close enough to get to the non-living of it.
It's fascinating, that's for sure.
It is. And to your point of Farah getting lured here and potentially it being a trap, I have no intention of that, but you do understand that it is sometimes the same thing from our side. A bunch of Farah getting led here and not knowing of their intentions either gets uncomfortable for us as well.
Of course, you'd be foolish to trust every Tom, Dick, and Harry who walks their way into your cairn, especially when they weren't invited. But thankfully, you aren't taking immediate and decisive action. I know the buttoned up one has a tendency to wish to fight everything he encounters, it seems.
I trust your intentions. It's one of the things I'm good at is seeing through people's facades for the most part, but
But
I
you would be
trust
one
it.
of the few.
Fair enough. But what do you want to know? What are you interested about here?
Power that radiates from this place is ancient and unknowable. Nobody is still alive who witnessed this power in its origin. Why it calls Tefera specifically? Why is it so intriguing and inviting? What was the intention behind this place, and who even knew this power still existed or could exist? I think it's no surprise to anyone that things have been a little bit more for the worse in the war that's waging. Probably would have helped if the Guru had let a few more soldiers live for that fight, but that's ancient history.
I also couldn't agree more, so we're on the same page there. But starting basic, this cairn used to be of the Crotan.
What's
Long
that?
ago. A tribe of Guru. Their brothers, the Ghost Council, and their other brother. They all kind of were here before, I guess you could say, European Guru made their way to this place.
See, I'd known that the Gale Stalkers and the Ghost Council had found their origins here, but the third tribe, that's news to anyone who wasn't in the loop of it all, I suppose. Even most Guru, I don't think, know that origin story.
You learn a lot, and she looks back at the trees behind her. You learn a lot working in this cairn, so we get access to some really interesting knowledge.
I can tell. My kind, the Nuisha. I figure we might as well get formal about it all. We love knowledge. And moreover than that, we love to spread knowledge, teach knowledge, which is why when you had your little issue with the leeches, I felt it the best way to thank you for my welcoming by spreading some of that knowledge, sharing with you.
Obviously, very much appreciated. It was absolutely helpful with what we were trying to do here, and for now, we've got to stand still with them, treaty. So that's going okay.
I have to admit, when I met with Matthias, I was expecting not what I received. In fact, I've seen a lot of what I didn't expect here, which is a breath of fresh air. I tend to avoid cairns and Guru meeting places, but this one I felt safe even before I walked in that nothing would happen. All the assurances aside, because assurances are a dime a dozen with the changing breeds, but the reality of it is I didn't feel resistance when I arrived. If anything, I felt a pull, a welcoming, as if the red carpet were being rolled out for me, and I never turned down a good red carpet.
It's a really esoteric place. It protected by ancestors from long ago. So it has an air about it.
Is that what that is? I just thought a bunch of half to mostly naked men walking through the woods was your ideas of a good time down here.
It could be both.
Why not?
But back to your question, the Crotan were a tribe here. And when fighting the worm, they were destroyed, and their spirit turtle was lost. And our hope is to bring them back to the fold.
So you look to bring back something that's extinct to life.
Potentially, hopefully, if everything goes well.
Well, either you are a necromancer or you are Lazarus himself emerging from the grave, but either way, I'll be interested to see how it turns out. What would be required to do such a thing?
You're asking the wrong person. I don't deal in the spirits and esoteric more than I have to. Too busy running everything around here. But I leave that up to Jace and Eliza.
Well, humor me. What have you learned so far would be required to do such a thing?
We'd be going to very interesting places to help it escape. I wouldn't say it's, well, I wouldn't know for sure if it's in danger, but I know it's stuck, and we would be going to liberate it.
Interesting places. How coy. All right. So say you are successful in bringing back a long lost spirit, creating or recreating a long lost tribe. Do you ever wonder if events unfolded the way they should have? That maybe bringing something back that's supposed to be gone isn't necessarily wise. Because while everything looks good on paper, of course it's going to, if it's something you want, you're going to present your best self. But what if it's not as shiny as it appears? What if the bloom has long fallen off the rose and instead you receive something spoiled or rotten in doing so?
I think all opportunities come with risk. And I know that's such a safe answer, but it's true. We try to move forward. We try to help where we can, and it could be detrimental in many ways. A lot of what I've done here, I'm still waiting to see if another shoe drops. So, to tell you the truth, I have no idea, but I know that Gaia needs more. She's dying, and we need more. We need help, and if I could help expedite that, I think it would be against everything that we are as Guru to say no.
Well, from what I've seen, help is a very difficult thing to achieve amongst the Guru. There is a lot of distrust there, and what I heard on the way here was talk of heresy being preached down here in Tampa. Now, I don't know about all that, but that is the word on the street, as it were, up north. What help do you think you're going to receive?
I'm going to be reaching out and hoping that people want to see a difference, want to see something new, want to see something better. Because even though I only have a small, minute amount of interaction with the nation as a whole, from things that I've heard, from things that I've seen, it's a unwillingness to break from the status quo, from breaking from tradition or whatever it may be, and it doesn't help us anymore. It doesn't put us in an advantageous place. It doesn't harbor community, which with so little left to fight, being divided makes no sense. And people and their petty squabbles over history and over their idea of what they think the nation should stay as, or what have you. It causes rifts, and I hope to find even ground.
It's interesting to me that you talk about new and different, and yet it seems like you are tapping in a lot to archaic and old powers, looking to return a tribe long forgotten, long since their expiration date, as it were. So on one hand, you want something new, but you're going about it by bringing back something old.
Everything new comes from old. That's just how the cycle works. You can't have something completely new. It always is derived from something. Just like what I want to do with my idea of the nation isn't just something brand new written on paper. It has its merits. The old nation has its merits, and my ideas aren't coming from nowhere. They're coming from an old ideology. Just like these Croatan were lost, and they're going to be something new when they come back.
Those old ideologies weren't without their problems. Some of them in a very bitey, clawy, stabby way for anyone different. What sets you apart? How are you going to convince them after they've been so embittered and jaded and hardened by ideologies that they thought were so important, but ended up just causing the downfall of all of them?
I'm not sure I can convince everyone. That's just the way of it. But I hope that people see the detriment of what they've been put through for so long and are willing to see something new and try something new. Because if it's not been working for so long, why are we still doing it? And I just hope I can give people the forethought of something better in their future. We don't live long enough to see a whole future, but we live long enough to have it a little bit better for ourselves and for the people who come after.
Well, stubbornness and Guru kind of go hand in hand, I've found, but I appreciate your optimism about it all. What I would ask after that is, you're sure to encounter resistance. You're sure to encounter some who are unbending and unwilling to view your philosophy, your ideals as anything but problematic. Do you have any concern that you might just be kicking a hornet's nest and causing further division, further problems, possibly even an entire collapse of whatever remains of your shattered nation?
I think new ideas come with a revolution, and sometimes that's beautiful and amazing, but it doesn't come without hardships, and some people aren't willing to move forward, and that is a detriment, and it is something that I know is going to come, but you have to at least try. If you believe in something enough, you have to try.
You do have to try. Revolutions in history have caused the changing of the tides, it's true. But it's also created openings for even more problematic regimes to move their way in. Or an opening for adversaries to strike when the whole of it is at its weakest. What do you plan to do to ensure others or to at least give them confidence that you're prepared for such events?
I think knowledge. Knowledge is our best weapon. Spreading what we know, what we're doing, the enemies that we know are at our backs, even at this moment. The ability to tell people how to fix certain problems that we've learned through experience. But there's no way for me to have them certain. They would just have to trust. But my thought is I expect that they'll see my passion and see the importance in my words.
But we're not talking about the enemies at your back. We're talking about potentially making enemies at your front as well. And therefore surrounding yourself with enemies. And while your ideals have proven fruitful so far and are very intriguing, to say the very least, what are you going to do when you're surrounded with numbers so few as yours?
She kind of giggles and looks to Aiden's tree and looks back. We find a way. Life finds a way.
Well, if you're going to go quoting Jurassic Park, I'm going to remind you of the moral of that movie, which is don't bring back things that are extinct.
Well, if you're going to do it smart and don't have them in cages where they could easily break out without proper security and no way of getting to people when security is lacking and there's no way to get to a whole nation because you're on a secluded island. I think that tells you a lot of information, that movie.
Oh, certainly. But it also means that all it takes is one self-serving individual to disrupt the entire ecosystem. And you, by extending yourself beyond this place, are opening yourself to several selfish individuals, potentially mixing things up.
Yeah. Yeah. Comes with the territory. I think there's a lot of questions you have that I don't quite have answers for because I've not experienced it. I've not been in it yet. I've not had to do it yet. But I'm prepared for what's to come, at least in here and in here. And whatever comes after that. I trust everyone around me to help figure that out.
Well, I hope you take no offense to my questions, and I hope you see it nothing other than preparation or practice for what's to come. I am curious to see what happens. So as far as, I suppose, whatever value my vote has, you have it for this new little experiment of yours. But you might want to find some answers to those questions before you go talking to others, because they won't be appeased by, I don't have experience, I've never done this before. If anything, that's going to make them less likely to be interested in engaging with such practice.
I agree. That's why I have the big grumpy one. He's well entrenched in the old nation, so that'll give me some answers. And we've all had our own experience, so I'd like to, and maybe since you love giving information so much, you know, I could really use some talking to.
I'm always happy to teach, just as I am to learn. Yes, the names Morningkill and Albrecht have quite a bit of reverberation, even amongst the other Farah, We've known these names. In fact, the Morning Kill name goes back to some of the early days of this very nation and stretch very far to the west, for better or worse. That's why I was so intrigued upon meeting Matthias Morningkill and then finding out there was an Albrecht here as well. You draw a very vast crowd.
Yeah, you kind of get the evolution of Silver Fangs with all of us. Probably me on this side. Charles all the way on that side, and Matthias somewhere in the middle. But
Well, your style with Wild Gorgeous doesn't speak to Silverfang.
I agree.
I appreciate it. I like to see the mold broken from time to time, and if it's for the better, that's the best case scenario.
I also think Falcon says to lead. I don't think there's a specific way of doing that. I think it's all up to interpretation.
Yes, but I think you'll find, especially lately, that the term leadership has been mistaken for dictatorship or rule. And that has been a constant in your tribe in the past. Whether it's by subjugation or by inspiration, the Silverfangs have always found a way to rule. It's actually something that I in no way mean to offend by saying you have in common with some of the leeches.
I'm sure that's true. I think that goes again back to the idea of old ideologies. When I was a leader here, how many times someone said to me the Arun should be leader during wartime was, well, I could probably count on more than just one hand. But it's those ideologies that should be left in the past.
But don't you know, Aspen? Might equals right. That's why it's so icy around here lately.
Yeah, the reflections and parallels of on both fronts, on the human side and the Guru side, is interesting, to say the least.
This is why it's a very dangerous time to speak out against the machine. There are those who are unwavering in their belief that the old way is the only way, and that the nation isn't shattered, it's just confused.
And
So you have to be careful about how you propose an idea of something new and unheard of, because there are those who don't want new and won't accept new. And unfortunately, most of them still have a lot of say, a lot of sway, because they've survived a great deal.
And again, my turn to have no offense towards you, and maybe I've been hanging out with Jester too long, but I think it's always a good time to scream against the machine when there's injustice.
Ooh, there's that shiver again. All right. Well, as I said, you have my support, and you have my interest at the very least. Does that mean I'm going to lay myself in front of a steamroller and get rolled over? No. But I can give some encouragement from the sidelines in this game you're playing.
Would be greatly appreciated. And it goes both ways, so if you and your friend ever need anything from us, don't hesitate to ask.
Oh, it will be a much, much colder day in Florida before Braxton needs anything from the Guru, but that is good to know. And I will definitely continue my efforts to smooth over the ruffles in his petticoats.
Good. But I feel like I've been keeping you here for so long. But I did want to talk to you about that text message.
Well, time flies when you're having fun, my dear. And let's talk about that text message. I had a very intriguing conversation with an individual the other day. It seems that they are looking to scream against the machine in their own way. Unfortunately, that may be a little bit naive or ignorant. However, they have the potential for great things because they smelled of, you know, that smell that some individuals get just before they're about to give birth. Let's just say I got that smell.
I have noticed a twinge on the wind as of recently.
Well, that twinge on the wind may not last for very long if they continue to dig into wells they aren't prepared for.
And what wells are those?
Leeches. Apparently they'd gotten some idea in their mind that the throne was the best place to find riches.
Oh, so the tippy top of the...
Oh, they are looking for gold. That's for certain. I think they don't realize that gold sometimes comes with teeth of its very own. In this case, fangs, I suppose.
Most young, unassuming, not knowing of the world, just human kids don't.
And that's why they've been able to maintain the way they have for so long. They count on it. And that just helps them grow and build and maneuver. That all being said, I think that if you're open to advice, caution is best, because this is still very early in the process for this one. I didn't get a sense that they were going to be popping out waving the Guru flag anytime soon. But as we all know, it just takes one tipping point for that to happen. And if they aren't secure when it does happen, it could cause a whole mess of trouble for you and yours.
Absolutely. Yeah, the scent is faint still, so I hope I have enough time. But what information could you give me about them?
Oh, they are a pretty sort. Definitely not what you'd expect being this far south. They are, well, they're a bit of an enigma, I suppose. Although they are in a whole hacker subculture and they've got the whole vibe of that. You know, you look upon them and you're like, oh yeah, you probably spend a lot of time on the computer. Very pasty in that way. Dark rooms, blue light being the only source of illumination.
Are we talking 90s hacker or 2000s, like early 2000s?
On the cusp, I could definitely have seen them as an extra in that Angelina Jolie movie.
Okay.
But I think that they could provide a very interesting opportunity for you. Because if they are about to become one of you and not exactly one of you yet, it wouldn't be breaking any agreements to have them sniffing around a place that your kind don't belong. Just a matter of how deep down the rabbit hole Alice wants to go. Because the Queen of Hearts is feeling very, very choppy.
I think that you have good points. and maybe we could get something. I just worry. I mean, not even a baby, a whole fetus going out there doing something that dangerous might be a problem.
Could be, but you also have the advantage of not being attached just yet. You don't have to take ownership of something that isn't yours. But at the same time, it'd be wrong to throw someone to the wolves now, wouldn't it?
Right. That is the catch-22 of it all.
I will say this. Be careful, because you're not the only one who's looking.
I feel like there's more to that.
I caught a scent on the wind of blood and anger. Might be familiar to you.
Interesting.
Well, it's not storm season anymore. It's snowbird season. And that means what might have gone north might return south for the fair weather.
That tracks for us.
Just mind your approach and realize that others may be seeking the same thing for different means. There are those who aren't happy with the little hill you've made for yourself here and would like nothing more than to see it flattened. And get the most soldiers in your army, you have a very, very strong chance of making that happen.
Fair enough. I'll keep an eye on them and try and get some more information of the people in our territory again.
Good. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know.
Of course.
Well, this has been absolutely delightful, and I thank you for the invitation as well as the continued hospitality for me and my associate being here. I know that it is possibly a little nerve-wracking to know that there are others running around your precious little city, getting up to no good, I'm sure, but trust me when I say I mean nothing but the best for you and yours, and seek not to disrupt what you're trying to create.
I really do appreciate it, Suni, and I appreciate all that you've already done and allowing me to pick your brain and to have these conversations.
Well, my pleasure. But I've got to tell you, the next time you invite me for a date, can we have something a little less rustic?
What are you thinking? A fancy dinner, or do we want a picnic on the beach? What are we thinking?
Oh boy, you just know how to sweep a girl off her feet. Any and all, I do enjoy our chats.
I'll make sure I do something special just for you.
Wonderful. Although I suppose it would be my turn to ask next, wouldn't it?
See, again, old traditions. We don't need them.
I couldn't agree more. The old traditions were bloody and problematic, to say the very least. It's been wonderful, Aspen. Until the next time.
Absolutely.
She dismounts from the stool and table, stands up, giving a smile and a wink before she turns and starts moving towards the clearing's edge once again. After this meeting with Suni and all of the information you were given, what are you thinking now?
Well, really spiraling is a bad word. We don't use that word. Really moving in the spaces of solidifying what this new nation looks like and what she wants it to be. Suni had a lot of really great questions that I don't think that Aspen didn't have the answers to. And to have as many answers before taking it to another person outside of the sept is a really good idea. So that's something to focus on. Also, small fetus problem. What to do about that? Suni saying that they could be beneficial to us, but that's not Aspen's style. So maybe if there's a middle ground that she can work up, could be useful. But regardless, she's gotta find them to make sure that they're not snapped up by another problem. That we thought we just had even ground. It took a couple weeks, and we're right back in the trenches. But that tracks for us.
Just when it seems like everything's settled, there's always a stormy rumble on the horizon. And if anybody knows how to laugh at storms, it's Suni. Speaking of searching, we move to our next scene where a guru searches for a former acquaintance, but not in the way that they had come to know them. Jace, you have been looking for Moses ever since the decision was made that this was going to be the best course of action. Eliza had said you had soothed one trouble mind before in Xander. How hard could it be for another, especially with something so important as access to the dreaming, as the return of Turtle, weighing upon the success of this endeavor? As you're looking for Moses, how are you going about it, and what are you thinking throughout the process?
He will be sitting at the split helm, looking at the staff for a while, knowing that Moses is somewhere in the city and the staff is the key to unlock Ishu. Eliza had told him that he already has all the things he needs in order to track him down. He just needs to use all the tools necessary. So he'll find a clean rag and he will go and wipe down the staff, trying to get whatever residue smells. Now, it being in the bar, there's going to be a lot of smells on here, but he's hoping that when he gets to the heart of downtown later tonight, that he can take the smells from the rag and try and trace that. Now, it's a long shot, but Eliza said that he has all the tools needed, so he's going to try this one out first.
On top of that, the staff had been inside you for a great long while, be cool, due to the good work of the glasswalkers and the gifts that they instill. As you wipe down the staff, give me a wits and investigation.
Rage 1?
Yeah. I don't think you're feeling particularly threatened by this approach. Curious, if anything, maybe a little bit unnerved by the fact that he is more than meets the eye. Not that he wasn't that before.
3.
Okay. As you take a long whiff of the rag, having finished wiping down the staff, be cool, you get the smell of a variety of odors, very faint, but because of your attuned senses, because of your heightened senses due to being a guru, you've learned to pick out scents, especially scents of the city. And this rag carries many of those scents. Burnt rubber, motor oil, cracked concrete, and detritus, trash. You also get a very strong scent of candle wax and flame. Now,
They'll
thinking
sit.
back, you do remember him selling candles along the boardwalk at one time or another, but that was Ishu more than it was Moses. And a lot of these scents seem to come from the time that Ishu was in possession of the staff and less Moses. Doesn't mean that, there couldn't be still some connection there, but it could also be very misleading due to the fact that Moses wasn't entirely behind the wheel when the car was driving before.
He'll sit with the scents for a little bit, going through all the different ones, trying to pick out almost all the areas that he's aware of where these all intersect. One of the areas that was brought up, especially with the candles, was, now can't remind me, it was a homeless shelter that
It was
he
the Tampa
nearby?
Ministries.
That's what it was. Okay.
The now boarded up, or at least as last you knew, Tampa Ministries, home to the Neighborhood Watch, the burgeoning cell of hunters led by Alice.
Coming to the realization that what this could all wrap up to be. With the additional sense of the detritus and the burnt rubber, could I do a streetwise to try and figure out where there's a higher point within the city?
Sure,
Where
give me
there's
give me an intelligence and streetwise, trying to call upon what you've heard, what you've seen, what you've experienced, being one of the city for quite some time. You also have another particular gift that could be quite useful in this situation, one that was recently acquired that unlocks certain information that the streets have.
with the location. I'm, you know what, I'll do the streetwise roll, and then I will attempt to see what the streets can tell me.
All right. So go ahead and make that intelligence and streetwise check.
4.
Being in a big metropolitan city like Tampa, these scents are everywhere. And there are very few places where they are not present in some form or another. You got a big highway that literally cuts through the city and is constantly filled with traffic, as well as, you know, street racing and the sorts that would leave that kind of smell behind. But the detritus, that does stand out because it's more than just your typical trash can or dumpster detritus. It has a strong, concentrated scent. It's almost like condensed. And there are a few places that could potentially be beneficial or could be the source of such a smell. There's the city recycling plant, the dump, and a few of the more run down areas of the city where cleanup isn't a priority.
Yeah. Taking all that in, realizing that those places are also stretched very far apart. I will use that the streets tell stories.
Okay. What's the cost for that?
That is 1 willpower, and it's my resolve and my honor. Can I add my favor for things overlooked to this?
Absolutely.
Cool. 5.
As you attune yourself to the reverberations that often go unfelt on the ground, as you listen in to that low electric whine that most of us take for granted, a voice breaks through the fog, the overlooked fog of the city. Hey, so you're looking for Moses, huh?
Yes.
Well, I gotta tell you, with a name like that, you stick out like a sore thumb, am I right?
Normally, yeah.
Well, I gotta tell you, kid, that guy's gotten around. Like, around. He, well, not as much as he used to, but he loved to travel this city from side to side. Even left a time or two, but recently he's been milling about a particular area of town, mostly to the northeast, away from the downtown area of the city, with tensions being heightened at all. You can still be a crackerjack and get wind that things aren't necessarily the safest these days to be, just milling about areas. Now he does have the ability, the advantage that he's white and male, but we're not talking about that. We're not going to get into that whole debate today.
Yeah, not today. Maybe another day. All right, so to the northeast. Still a pretty big area.
Hunter be hunted, my friend. That's all I can give you.
You know what? I appreciate that. It's better than what I had, so thank you.
You got it. Beep, beep. And then with that, you hear the sound of a horn honking outside, which kind of breaks you out of the trance you found yourself in.
He'll sit for a moment, like, gotta listen to her more. He's trying to do things the old way. Okay. He'll go and get his bag, his keys, and head over to his bike.
Okay.
Start going northeast.
Where are you headed?
He said Cracker Jacks. Is there anything up northeast that has anything to do with baseball?
Roll me a wits and insight. Yes, there is something to the northeast. There's a Steinbrenner field, although that's a little bit more northwest. And as you kind of dissect the dialogue that the streets was using, you get the feeling that they were referring more to Moses's mental state when they used the term crackerjack.
With that role, is there anything that has to do with homes, hospitals, get well centers, anything along those lines?
You can't tell for sure, but one thing that did stand out was one of the last things it said: hunt or be hunted.
That's a big old forested area, isn't it?
No, it's the city. I mean, yes, far to the northeast, of course, is the forest. That's
Just
where
wanted
you
to make
live,
sure.
though.
Yeah.
That's the Hillsborough area.
Any hunting shops up there? Or camping gear, supply shops like that?
Sure. But that's probably not what it was referring to. candle wax, the ministries, what takes residence there now.
The hunters are there right now, right?
Hunter be hunted.
I really didn't want to go back. All right. We'll head to the ministry.
Okay, so getting on your motorcycle, beginning the drive out to one of the more suburb areas, you come upon the Tampa Ministries building as it begins to get dark outside. As you approach the building, you can see the same boards hammered up on the walls covering what was shattered windows, or whatever windows still were intact after all was said and done. Roll me a wits and awareness as you arrive on the property.
Another 5.
Looking around up to the rooftop, where you know that there was usually a sentry positioned before, you don't see anybody atop the building. In fact, looking around, you don't see anybody in the area at all. Not walking around it, not on the streets, nobody in positions where you would expect lookouts to be. This time, as opposed to previous times, it's pretty devoid of all of that.
Spend a will and use the penumbral senses and see what's going on here also on the other side.
As you look to the other side, the Weaver is present, a hint of the wild, and definitely elements of the worm due to the ruin that has been made of this building cling to the side. You know, ruin, wreckage, detritus, destruction. But there's nothing untoward. There's nothing outside of the norm that you wouldn't expect, especially as versed in the city as you are, having the advantage of being versed of the Umbra and the city coming together. Everything seems as it should be.
Turn it off and then walk up towards the building cautiously and slowly, not making sure he's still in some form of light right now, in case he has missed something going on. He doesn't want to be perceived as a threat to the building.
Approaching the building cautiously, but in the open as much as you're willing to be. Just as you get to the door swings open and you are hit by a mag light. Not hit, but like a bright beam flashes in your eyes. And just as the beam starts to lower, you get the gaze of an individual wearing what looks to be a ski mask and a vest with the Customs Enforcement logo on the front. They have a taser sparking in the other hand, but just as they flash the light in your face, they lower it. And they go, Jace?
Yeah. Am I good to move?
Yeah, come on in, man. And they lower the flashlight and step in, and as they pull up the ski mask, you recognize the same door guard that had been there before, one of the ones that had let you in previously, but dressed very differently. It seems that they got their hands on some new duds recently. As they bring you into the building and start walking to the back, they close and lock the door behind you. And as you move through, you hear the low murmurs of talking as you get to the back room. Once the door is opened and you enter into the secret back room that they've created amidst all the chaos, you see Alice as you've seen before, sitting on a half broken couch that looks like it's been jerry-rigged together to still be functional, next to an older man, dark skin, thinning gray hair atop his head, glasses. He's got a massive welt on the side of his face, and he's wearing a button-up black shirt, black slacks, and black shoes. You see strewn about, being organized and shuffled through what looks like a bunch of riot gear, newly obtained riot gear, including tasers, batons, some bulletproof vests, all of them bearing the same marking as the one that you encountered at the door. They clearly had a raid recently, and it was very beneficial to them. As you're brought in, Alice cuts off the conversation with Reverend Thomas and looks to you, eyebrows raising slightly before she stands up off the couch and makes her way over. Back so soon?
Yeah, sorry for not calling beforehand. Good security, though. Scared the shit out of me, so...
Well, that's the
Well
hope.
done.
We don't want them coming looking here thinking that what they lost can be found again.
Yeah, hope I'm not intruding too much. I know I just kind of showed up.
If it hadn't been because of you that we found him, it'd probably be a different welcoming, but because of that, what can I do for you?
Well, first I'm go wave over to the Reverend and give him a slight head nod.
Reverend gives a very warm smile besides his slightly battered appearance, but it looks like he is mending, and he bows his head, closing his eyes gently.
Well, I'm needing some help this time.
All right.
I'm looking.
If it's water, I'm fresh out. You guys go through a hell of a lot of that stuff, though.
As far as I know, I think we're good on that for right now. But if that is the case, I'll be sure to call beforehand. But the reason I'm here is I'm looking for someone I think frequented here often. They go by the name of Moses. Not super tall, but about average. White hair. Walked around with a wooden staff a lot. Spoken riddles.
I remember Moses. He and I had something in common, throwing people off the scent, I guess.
Yeah.
Last time I saw him, or at least the last few times he came by here, something had changed. He was acting a little bit more erratically, but, you know, we deal with that all the time. It wasn't anything we couldn't handle. Is there something up with that guy?
Yeah, kind of. His head got messed with pretty good, and it really just kind of twisted things up. And so last I saw him, agree, they not the same person I remember. He could barely form a full sentence, and he stared at me like he didn't even know me. When he came here, did I at least recognize you?
It was hard to say what he recognized specifically. He was very bewildered, frazzled, but that's not what I'm talking about. There was a vibe off of him. Like, I don't know, something. There's no real good way to define it, but something was strange, and I've been running into a lot more of that than I'm used to lately.
I wish I had an answer for you on why he is acting that way. That's one of the reasons I want to find him. I want to try and help him to try and figure out what's going on.
Give me a manipulation and subterfuge, as you are clearly lying as to
Sure.
what could be strange about Moses.
4.
4 successes. Okay. She just seems to nod her head. Well, after the raid hit, this place was not fit for serving less fortunate as it used to be. We relocated a lot of the regulars to another location. There's a community center the west of here, close to the university, not on the university, but probably a couple blocks south of it, that has been offering some soup kitchen assistance as well as other programs that help. That's where we've been directing anybody that we recognize that comes by here. My guess is if he stopped by anytime recently, that's where he was sent.
Okay. That's at least something. So I appreciate that. But if I end up finding out what's going on, I'll be sure to let you know.
I appreciate being kept in the loop.
We working as a team, right?
For now.
For a good long while. Good, awesome. Is there anything you guys are needing right? Well, it looks like you guys just got done doing some fun activities.
Thanks to you, yeah. We got what we needed and then some. We should be good for a while, but if anything comes up, I'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah. The things that keep rolling through for you guys, will make sure they keep coming.
Appreciate it. I'll also let the others know to keep an eye out for Moses. If we see him, we'll let you know.
Appreciate it. Well, am I good to exit or do I need an escort? I'm cool either way.
Go on. Unless you give us a
thanks,
reason to
Alice.
stop you, I think you'll be fine.
Not really one for the big and hairy right now, so we should be okay.
Neither am I. Ever.
Noted. He'll turn around with a small smile, give another nod to the Reverend, and make his way out.
Walking back out through the building, you pull out your phone, Googling community centers around the area, and there are a few, but there's one that's particularly close to the university, as she said, a few blocks south of there. Getting on your motorcycle, pulling out of the parking lot and beginning the drive. It takes about 30 to 40 minutes to get from where the community center, or from where the ministries is, to this community center, traffic being what it is and sticking mostly to surface streets. You eventually arrive outside of a long rectangular brick building, windows along the walls, and there's a parking lot, a small kind of drive-in parking lot with enough space for maybe 15, 16 cars, with plenty of street parking nearby. You can see that there are a few cars parked there right now. Out back is a playground and a long sidewalk that seems to circle into some woods that are positioned in the middle of this neighborhood, like a park out back of the community center, and a long path that leads into the park and walks through the woods before circling back towards where it meets the community center once more. As you climb off the bike, you approach the community center. You can see lights are on inside. There's plenty of flyers kind of papering the window, as well as an entire rack full of pamphlets that is hung up against the wall. Walking in, there's a small reception counter where there's a young woman, probably 19, sitting behind the counter, clearly a volunteer, who looks up to you and says, "You're here for the pickup basketball game. You're running late. They're already in the second quarter."
I'll have to catch the next one.
All right. What can I do for you?
I'm hoping you can help me with something. He'll kind of lean on the counter a little bit. I'm looking for someone in particular. Are you able to give that kind of information out?
Depends on who you're looking for, I suppose.
Well, the particular gentleman, he's white hair, tan skin. He might look a little disheveled, and I know that's gonna be pretty common right now, but he goes by the name of Moses.
I don't usually work that area of the center. I'm just mostly here up at the front, but I know that they usually offer a warming shelter here at night, especially with the winter being as it is lately. And we see, well, quite a motley crew of folks come in. They usually show up maybe in around 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then, you know, linger until we start letting them in around 8:30. But if you're going to find him, that's probably where he'll be. After the game wraps up, they'll clear out the gymnasium and start setting up cots and, you know, letting people roll out sleeping bags and the like.
Awesome. What time is it roughly right now?
Right now it's about 6:30-ish, just after dark.
Well, I guess I will I'll head and watch some of the game until that happens.
Yeah, all right. She sits back and picks up her phone again and goes back to texting. As you walk through the building, you eventually find the double doors that lead to a gymnasium where you can hear the sounds of squeaking rubber, the bouncing of a ball, the occasional banging of the ball off the backboard or the rim. The game wraps up not too long afterwards, the people heading off, a few of them lingering behind and heading over to what looks like a supply closet off to one side, where they end up pulling out slowly these camping cots, as well as a couple of air mattresses and other, you know, assortment of things that have clearly been donated over time. It's completely, nothing matches, I should say. Everything looks like it's just pieced together over time. Shortly after they start assembling that, they walk over to another set of double doors that seem to lead outside of the building. And as they push them open, some individuals are crowded around the doorway before they start entering slowly. You can tell that there are a lot of people who make use of services like this, that the population of the unhoused is probably at its height this time of year due to the weather being so bad up north. Give me a wits and investigation as you're looking for someone specific.
Three.
As you're watching over the individuals that come in, you're looking for distinct features, and the first few, it's very obvious that they're not who you're looking for. But near the middle of this group that's filing in slowly, you see a man with a tattered hoodie pulled up over his head and a salt and pepper beard that has overgrown outside of the hood itself. His hands are ringing with a very nervous energy, and he's carrying a large knapsack on his back. And from the look of the knapsack, it looks like a match for one that you've seen Moses carrying in the past. However, it's much dirtier and in worse shape than it was the last time you saw him.
We'll slowly walk up to him to not try and startle him. And while he's making his way through, he'll come up gently and kind of like tap him on the shoulder. Hey, you doing all right?
Even without the intention to startle, he still reacts with a start, looking over in your direction. And as you see beneath the hood, you do in fact see Moses with a very wild and bewildered expression on his face. His beard has grown out of control at this point, whereas before it was actually surprisingly nicely manicured, considering his situation. Now it's just wild and untamed. In fact, his eyebrows have grown a little bit bushier as well, which makes you think, was he really trimming his eyebrows before? Apparently he was. His hair is longer and more bushy and wrangled, and it's almost like poofing out the hood even more further away from his face. And he goes, "What the barman?"
Yeah, Jason.
"You wanted to exchange my meal for another meal, Jason."
I just wanted to see if you're doing all right. One, it's been a while. And do you need help with anything? Getting set
I don't
up?
claim that cot.
That's all right. Yeah. Did you just the one? You just want the one cot?
They won't let me have more than one.
Well, I guess everyone needs one, but I understand wanting a little bit more. But it's been a while. How you been?
You asking me how I've been?
That is the question I asked you.
I'm still alive. That enough?
That is a positive outlook on it, yeah.
So you're not here for a cop. What do you want?
Just helping out. And I saw you and I was like, hey, I know this guy. Let's see if he needs anything.
Well, I ain't interested in adopting religion or none of that, despite my name. So if you're trying to like recruit or something, not interested. I also don't believe in aliens. So, you know, Xenu you.
Well, I'm not here to preach or give you any religion. For some of that is even beyond me. And as far as aliens, I'm still skeptical, but I understand where your stance is on the long shot that it could be. But Moses, you all right if we sit and chat for a little bit? You and I used to have really, really long talks, so I'd just like to reminisce.
He blinks a few times as if he's trying to sort out that statement, trying to recollect those conversations that you're referring to, before he just shrugs and says, "You get me a candy bar from the vending machine, I'll talk to you all night."
I'll get you a few things. You'll walk over, keeping an eye on him, making sure he's not taking off, but he'll get him like Hershey's, a Kit Kat, and he'll buy him go to the soda and get him whatever, a few different options like Dr. Pepper, Mountain Dew, Pepsi, and walk over with just a smorgasbord.
You see that he, in fact, wasn't going anywhere. He quickly hurried over to the cot and started putting his knapsack down and started unrolling a patchwork sleeping bag to claim that spot as his, while others are looking on with envy or greed, looking for any opportunity to snatch the spot from him. But he eventually sits down upon the cot, and as you approach, he reaches out excitedly for what you've brought before tapping on the cot next to him and quickly unwrapping one of the candy bars and shoving it in his mouth.
You have a favorite kind of candy? I
Free.
personally, fair. I like paydays. I know it's a weird one. Not a whole lot of people like those ones, but I like paydays. But just free. Do you have a favorite drink? Or is free also? That one too. Yeah.
Ain't broke, don't fix it.
Ain't that the truth? So what have you, like, last I saw you were at the bar. I got you something to eat and then you just left. So what have you been up to since then?
But I was enjoying the bounty of this place that was taking real good care of us. had a shower, and it was good. But then it closed down, got all busted up. So they said, come here. Now I'm here. When I'm not forced to be somewhere else, pretty much here.
And things at the other place went pretty well, though, it sounds like. A good rapport with the people there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the candles there.
Yeah, apparently it's a fundraising thing. Jason, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely. You can ask me whatever you want.
What year is it?
It is 2026 February.
See, that's what everybody else keeps saying, but there's no way.
What year do you think it is?
I mean, say 1986, but doesn't look the same. Last year, I remember.
You're a little off. Well, what were you doing in 1986? Or in this year of 1986?
He gets a very, like, suspicious look on his face as he looks you up and down for a moment. Reading.
That was it? The entire year?
We gotta study. Learn
Yeah,
things.
what were you learning? Good. What were you studying? Was it like for school?
You could say that. It was. You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Try me. I've heard a lot of cool stuff. I'm sure you got some really cool ones to share.
Well, I was reading this book about some Eastern religions. See, there's a belief that the truth is hidden beneath the surface of what's written. And if you look hard enough and in the right way, you'll be able to see it. So
Okay.
I read all kinds of books, horror books, science books. I even read a book about fairies.
Yeah, I heard they can be kind of tricky.
Got that right. I stay away from fairies.
Oh, you believe in fairies?
Don't you?
Absolutely. 100%. Like the whole, he'll pull out his phone and he'll go on TikTok and go like to the Fae trap things and start showing and people like seeing them. Like, yeah, see, look at all these things they're setting up.
You can buy them too. Boxes.
Yeah, they're interesting. They keep us all connected and they show us things going on around the world. And,
See, they
keep us
call that
weary.
a phone, but that's not a phone because a phone has a cord that attaches to a box on the wall, and you can't walk around like that.
So what would you call this if it's not a phone?
Walkie-talkie with pictures.
He'll try and like hold back a laugh. Yeah, this walkie-talkie is able to go even further. There's a really big advancement as far as like the radio waves and how they transmit and everything. So yeah, absolutely. They just call it a phone because it's a lot easier than saying walkie-talkie with pictures. That's just a really long.
You said it's 2026, right?
Correct.
So I'm behind on a few things, obviously.
Just a tad.
Well, that's fucking with me something good, Jason.
You know, if I were in your shoes, it would be with me as well.
Said we talked?
Yeah, we used to talk all the time. It'd be out on the boardwalk. I actually met you on one of my first days coming to Tampa. I drove up. I saw you picking up trash on the beach. So I came over and asked if you wanted help. And so you and I picked up some trash. Then we sat on the beach and we talked. And then we kept talking for a while, about a month. You and I met once, twice, maybe sometimes even 3 times a week. We just shoot the shit.
No offense, buddy, but I don't remember any of that.
That's all right.
Your face, it's like a dream in my head. And your voice, I feel like I've heard it before, but ain't no way. I can't even point to it, picture it.
Well, you used to talk about a place a lot. There's a place that you used to say was that you used to visit often. One of the most vivid parts is that there's this road, a shinier road than most. It's out in this really deep forest, and as it goes out, it forks, and there's 2 different paths. And you always talked about how the paths would lead you to different areas. One of the paths took you through really big meadows, and there was another one where oddly enough, there's a large castle that went by it.
They call me crazy now. I was talking about a sparkly road in the woods and castles.
Hey man, I don't knock people's truths.
Well, like I said, I don't remember any of that.
I might come back to you.
In my mind, I'm 20, delving into a library, but looking at these withered old hands and the face I see in the bathroom mirror, I ain't that anymore.
Were you here doing that?
Yeah, out Orlando way.
Okay. Well,
Been trying to get back there, but apparently hitchhiking isn't a thing anymore.
it's really dangerous. And trying to get any type of transportation out there isn't cheap.
Telling me.
Well, do you have anyone that comes to mind? Any names or anything? Possibly I can get a hold of them and maybe they can come down here and talk to you.
Remember old guy that I just knew him as the librarian. He was the one shoving all these books in my face saying, read this, read this. Probably dead now if I'm this old.
Fair. Well, maybe I can track down some of the books that you were reading. Maybe that will help jog your memory a little bit. Maybe something that's picked at back there, and I'll just scratch and everything be able to open up. Maybe those past 40 years.
Listen, man, whatever floats your bobber, I'm just thankful for the candy and place to sleep.
If I got you a walkie-talkie with the pictures in it, now it would be a really rudimentary, easy one to operate. Be a way for us to communicate. And that way, if you need anything, I got you. I used to buy us sandwiches all the time on the boardwalk. Pastrami cheese with a little bit of ham.
Why are you so nice to me if I don't remember you?
Because the kindness that you did give me, I still remember.
All right. I won't turn down a free phone, I guess, and bring more candy. I'll do whatever you want. Well, all right, within reason.
Got it. Well, is there anything that you are needing other than the candy? And it looks like you already secured a cot.
Needing, no. Wanting, of course, but woke up in a weird world. And now I feel like I'm starting to get the hang of it.
Okay. Well, I'm not a genie by any means, but if there's something you are wanting that's within my grasp, just name it and I'll see what I can do.
For a moment, you can see him like kind of get a spark of like eagerness, but then he quickly puts that away and shakes his head and says, I appreciate it, Jason. You've been more than kind, a kindness I haven't seen in, oh, I don't know when.
Well, I'll how about I come and try and see you in the next few days, and I'll have the phone with me.
I'll be here, and if I'm not here, I'll be somewhere like here. Or there's a big shelter out in St. Pete.
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully I'll get the phone to you sooner than later, so that way we can still communicate.
Sounds good.
All right. You enjoy the candy, enjoy your drinks. He'll give a kind of a light squeeze to his knee and stand up.
He gives you a pat on the back as you stand, says, thanks, buddy, as you get up and start to leave. But as you look back over your shoulder in his direction, you actually see him passing one of the canned drinks to somebody else, sharing the bounty that he's received here.
Before heading out,
Yeah.
Any of the workers, there like someone there standing that looks like they're kind of in charge? I'm assuming I would look for someone with a clipboard almost.
Yeah, you see a few overseers. Yeah.
Okay. Go over to them real quick. Hey, if you can help me out with something, he'll point over towards Moses. We're distantly related, and it took me a long time to see where, but he's not wanting help from me right now. Is there a way that you can just kind of keep me in the loop with him and everything and make sure that he gets everything that he's needing?
Give me a manipulation and persuasion.
4.
Okay, with 4 successes, they look at you weird at first as you first propose the idea, but then as you explain your intentions, they say, yeah, let me take down your phone number. Moses he's one of the good ones. Little erratic when we first met, but he seems to have calmed down a bit. He takes down your phone number and says, I'll give you a call when I can, but really, we mostly see them come here around night, dinner time, and leave first thing in the morning. Community center's still got to do what it's got to do during the day, so.
100%. He'll take out his wallet and pull out a couple hundred. That's for the good work. And then walk out.
Yeah, thanks, man. As you're leaving, what are you thinking about? Having seen Moses as he is now, having learned more about him?
A very long road ahead. He tried prying at his memory with different things, the candle, the road, the sandwiches, the first meeting, and nothing. But seeing the selfless acts that he did do with the bounty he did have and giving it out, that did give him a little sense of hope that there's still that sense of Moses there. It's just going to take a lot of digging to remove the rubble that is blocking 1986 and 2026, trying to merge that gap to bring Moses to a pathway that he's able to connect the two.
It is going to be a long road. But would you expect anything less from Ishu?
No.
With that, we're going to go to our break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half of tonight's story, where we check in with our human and their ongoing scouting investigation of sorts. We'll see you in just a few minutes. welcome back. As we return, we find ourselves at the cairn of the Sept of the Evening Star. It's evening, which is appropriate considering the name, and the Guru have assembled in advance because of a message they received from a friend from some time ago, Terrance, who has become a pretty knowledgeable theurge despite his young age up in Georgia at the Sept of the Fertile Soil. But now he says he has a friend he wants to introduce you to. And pressed for more information, he said he was asked to wait until the introduction and that they can speak for themselves. So as you've all assembled with Charles, Artie, Eliza, the time has come for that introduction. But before they arrive, you have a few minutes to yourselves to discuss anything you wish to discuss before a new introduction is made.
So, any guesses on who's coming? You think it's something good, something bad, something different?
Artie says, as far as I know, it's not like Terrance to be so fucking cryptic. So I'm not excited.
That was my thought.
That is kind of weird.
I don't know. I don't know the guy.
I mean, it is Terrance, so I don't think he would bring anything dangerous to our doorstep.
Not knowingly.
I'm guessing it's just one of those, they wanted it to be a surprise, or it's too hard to explain over text or something like that, but I have to assume that it's fine and safe. Charles just grunts and crosses his arms.
I forget people don't make phone calls anymore.
We really have to find a new meeting spot for people. The cairn might as well have a revolving door on it.
You could buy one.
It needs electricity.
Always increase security too.
Maybe.
Yeah, see, we're fine, Charles. You do your job.
Yes.
And you've got one less job now, so you're going to be extra doing the water stuff.
Good. I need to give a lot of my focus to that, apparently. It's been lax, and look what's happened.
People keep walking in. Yeah.
Or making deals with Banes.
Don't get me started.
Izzy, now you've been traveling with Terrance for a couple of days now, and it's been a really pleasant and fruitful experience. Food has been plentiful, most of it foraged. He comes back with apples and delicious herbs and all kinds of things provided by Gaia, which is not too unusual when you're around enough children of Gaia. They are so in tune with nature and the atmosphere. But then as you got closer to the city, you saw a mixture of emotions come upon Terrance. Excitement to be home as he started telling you about all of his favorite places to go and the things he would do and telling stories of his life before becoming a guru. But then as he's told stories about Aiden and about this place, he got a little bit more solemn, a little bit more reverent. Eventually, he leads you to a large state park. And as you reach the edge of it, he looks to you and says, "Do you want to do the honors or should I?"
I don't want to rob you of your homecoming, so...
All right, well, why don't I start and you join me? And
I
with
can do that.
he gives a howl. And as it rings out, it's long and filled with so much emotion. All of those emotions that were just described, the excitement, the longing, a little bit of morose, it all shines through in an unmistakable howl to those within the cairn that Terrance has finally come home. As you join in the howl, give me a either wisdom or charisma and performance.
What's my rage currently at?
Oh, definitely a 2. Even though you have been talked down some, you know this is it. This is the moment.
And you said it was wits and...
Charisma or wisdom.
Oh.
If you have wisdom, any dots in wisdom.
They're both 2, so...
Yeah.
It's all rage dice. 2 successes.
Okay. So to those in the cairn, as they hear Terrance's howl of introduction, it's joined by another voice, a much deeper, more masculine tone combines with his slightly higher pitched howl. As they've made the introduction, Terrance starts leading you into the forest, Izzy. And eventually, after maybe 15, 20 minutes of trekking through the dark woods, which is not too unusual, but this is a foreign environment. You don't know the foot trails and the paths and the hunting trails. So you do find yourself getting caught up on some fallen logs or some low bushes and maybe even stepping into a puddle of a nearby swamp that you're on the edge of. But eventually you see light through the trees of a fire burning in the middle of a clearing. As you reach the edge of the clearing, Aspen, you see Terrance, and Izzy, I'm going to let you go ahead and describe yourself.
Yeah. As Izzy steps into sort of the open, he has this moment where he sees people already present and attempts to tidy himself up. He has a bunch of like partial wilderness wear, partial gym attire that has been well worn. Definitely months and months of the Garu lifestyle have sort of eaten at the edges, faded bits of color here and there. And as he stands up to his about 6'3" height, he dusts off his unkempt hair and, with a heavy-set smile, attempts to stand behind the guiding Terrance, knowing that Terrance technically has the spotlight at this moment, so he is trying to be both presentable as well as non-threatening.
Okay, so that's what you see as they enter the clearing. Terrance looks older somehow, despite the fact that he's only been away or the last time we saw him was maybe a little over a year ago. He just looks older and more experienced. He seems to be wearing traveler's clothes is the best way to describe it. And by traveler's clothes, I mean like a woven tunic and loose pants. Still got the tennis shoes, can't leave without those, but it looks like these clothes have been actually handmade back up at the cairn to the north. He's got a JanSport backpack basically over his back, and his hair is braided into rows atop his head, coming down in little tiny tails at the bottom, at the base of his neck. And he looks immediately towards Aspen with a big smile and says, "May we enter?"
Of course. And she's gonna stretch her arms out for a hug.
He starts walking in, giving Isidoro a smile before breaking into a full-on run to greet Aspen and Jester with the hug. Artie also excitedly kind of moves to meet Terrance. Go ahead.
Izzy will just basically move whatever the half distance mark is and just sort of stand apart, letting Terrance sort of have his reunion moment, but keeping eyes on both the newcomers, he will also scan just the surrounding area to sort of get a feel for the space.
As you're looking around, taking in the excited greeting between Aspen and Jester and Artie and Terrance, who just starts rambling immediately about how good it is to see you, how he's so happy to be home, and how he has so much to tell you about his time in Georgia, and just on and on and on. A definite tone shift happens as Charles and Izzy place eyes upon each other. Charles, for possibly one of the first time anyone's seen it, looks surprised. As much as Charles can. His eyebrows raise like a quarter of an inch. His eyes widen a little bit, but his mouth is still set in that hard line that it often is. And he actually even falls back a step, like he has to support himself on the heel of his back foot before shaking it off and tensing, keeping decorum, as it were, as this is still, in his mind, a formal introduction, considering there were howls and all of that. But the tension can be felt even from those who are with Terrance right now. Terrance eventually breaks off his rambling and says, "We'll catch up. Let me do the formal thing. Aspen Weiss, Malicious Jester, Dreams and Decay, Eliza Ross, all of you. I'd like to introduce Isidoro, a tribe mate of mine. Children of Gaia."
Yeah. Friends call me Izzy. Deed name is Entwined Smiles with Claws if you'd like to be formal.
He was,
and for short.
He was passing through the Georgia Sept and said he was making his way towards Florida, and I figured why not show him the way rather than have him, come stumbling into the city, not sure where to go and possibly causing problems. So, Izzy, this is the Sept leader, Aspen Weiss of the Silverfangs, Malicious Jester of the Black Furies, Dreams in Decay of the Bone Gnars. This is Eliza Ross of the Stargazers, and Arthur Garfield, Artie, of the Glasswalkers, and then finally Charles Albrecht of the Silverfangs.
I'll immediately walk up and put my hand out. Aspen Oathbreaker, leader of the Sept of the Evening Star and the Pack of the Evening Star.
I've heard so much about you. And with that, Izzy will go in for a rather firm handshake, but not enough to actively try to crush, just a very staunch form. As he gives a shake, looks around, trying his best not to make contact with Charles in this moment. He lingers for a moment on Aspen, the Malicious Jester, and stops on Jason for a moment and goes, "Hang on. Echoing Roots, yeah?
Sure is.
Jason.
Yeah, how's it going?
Hey, long time no see. I thought you were dead."
Not yet, although people keep trying.
Okay. Well, I have to imagine you heard the news. I'm sorry. I don't mean to hold up introductions. We'll catch up. No problem. I've heard so much all about you. I've been making my way down from the north here, and closer I get, more I hear. Sept of the Evening Star. Big things in the nation. Just a pleasure to make your all acquaintances.
Pleasure for us as well. What can I help you with, Isidoro?
That is a good question. It's been a long journey, And at the very moment, I would hope for a bit of hospitality. I know it's a lot to ask, but once I heard from Terrance that he was sort of a bit homesick and had completed so much of his training, I thought, well, as a good elder, I should maybe, guide him back here, provide a bit of security. I heard things have been pretty dicey. But I've also heard that because of the going-ons, there have been a number of important people coming and going. I heard specifically from the Morgantown Sept that werebats are about. And, well, it sounded too good to be true, and the more I heard, the higher the praises seemed to sing of this sept, and, well, I wanted to see it for myself.
Eliza at this point pipes up and says, I'll go put some food on y'all. It sounds like we got a little bit of a conversation happening if you're hungry.
If there's anything more than berries and herbs, not that I'm, opposed to the benefits of Gaia, but...
Oh, honey, I don't do anything but a good southern meal, she says as she turns and starts walking towards the trailer.
I like her.
After noticing Charles's weird reaction to this, and he seems like very friendly, very, very friendly. And given when I left Morgantown, yeah, I did some things, but they weren't exactly that friendly to me. I'd like to roll some insight on this person's motives.
Sure. If you are trying to hide any motives, Izzy, you can go ahead and roll a manipulation and subterfuge to counter, or just a composure and resolve to counter, as you are just kind of staying formal.
I think in this moment, Izzy is taking a lot of what Terrance sort of talked with him about to heart, and so he's not actively trying to shield it, but he's also not explaining everything. So a lot of lying by omission. So
Okay.
I think the composure resolve might be the
Perfect.
best here.
How many rage am I at?
I would say just one at the moment, although seeing Charles may have edged you to 2, but not quite.
2 successes.
Okay.
And we were all aware of Charles's demeanor.
Yeah.
3 successes.
When there's a shift with Charles, it's noticeable since he's usually just a statue existing nearby. It was enough to trigger everyone's senses that something had changed. With 3 successes, you get a pretty good read on Izzy. Izzy, what would she see or get a vibe from?
There is the immediate, oh, you're being very friendly, but there is an immediate tension that is palpable, especially from Garu to Garu, of the smile is a bit more than mirth. It is the clenching of teeth, and something appears to be bubbling beneath Izzy.
Okay. Would you like to sit down?
Oh, sure. Long walk. You guys don't exactly have a road, but as far as seps go, I think that's pretty par for the course. Where would you like me to sit?
She will point to a guest chair for Izzy because she is keeping the Child of Gaia chair for Terrance.
So as you are brought over, you're brought to a large hand-carved wooden table that sits at the base of a massive tree that has a ornamental clave hung within the tree on the bark just above the seat that sits below it. And I'm not even going to make you roll. As you look at the table, you see symbols carved upon the table in front of certain chairs, and most of them are glyphs you recognize to be associated with sept positions. There are also a few that are associated with tribes, and then a few that are unmarked, clearly made for guests or those with no specific affiliation. As if she already was ready for an arrival, having heard that Terrance was coming, Eliza returns with plates of steaming hot food, big containers, and it is more than this group of people should be prepared to eat. She cooked probably enough for 30 and starts bringing out these large platters and setting them down on the center of the table.
I'll give her a hand because she's gonna have to make several trips.
As everyone approaches their chairs, Charles doesn't move. He just remains stood, tense, and watching. But eventually, once the food is out, Eliza finds her seat and says, Isidoro, was it? Or Izzy? Which would you prefer?
My friends call me Izzy, and if you wish to be formal and don't want to use my whole deed name.
Oh, we're all friends here in my mind, Izzy, so, welcome.
For you, Izzy, it is.
It's good to see you, Terrance. Terrance, it's good to see you too, Eliza. It's been a while. How are you? Getting older by the day, she says. As Terrance, not acknowledging the obvious tension right out the gate, just starts digging in, also clearly very hungry and very excited for a home-cooked meal after a few days of travel. The scene is yours.
Aspen's gonna look over at Terrance until she can make eye contact and kind of give him a look of like, you're gonna explain this later because this is strange. Nods and then looks over to Isidoro. So you came specifically because of what you've heard of us?
Yeah, indeed. I've been on my own for a fair long while, and when rumors started going about, moots and such, and I heard that the Sept of the Evening Star had done a number of great things. A couple of people coming up from an area that had been more or less abandoned by the nation. I was wholly curious, so wanted to say hi.
Well, we have plenty of stories, and
I would love to hear them. Yeah,
Jester is our...
I've heard about Jester. Jester, you're quite the Garu. I mean, for one, terror watch list. Is there any greater badge of honor for half the stuff we get up to?
I suppose not. It is.
I've heard you were...
Interesting that it's still known about. Glance to Artie.
He leans over to you and says, it would have been a while ago. That's old news.
So I take it, look back to Izzy. So I take it, Izzy, you and Jace were in the same Sept?
Oh, I mean, I had come and gone from the Echoing Roots for a little while, but for the times I did come back with Piercing Moonrise Pack, I do remember catching glimpses of a little youngin' running around, deedless when I last saw him, but what was your deed name now, Jason?
Dreams in Decay.
Dreams in Decay. That is evocative. What brought that on?
Well, Gaia, with her vast knowledge before I even had become a guru, was showing me glimpses of things to come, things that have happened, warnings in a way. And when I finally had gone through everything, I had my own version of a trial where the Rustborn, Denton and all of them, we went through an area where there was a several banes of corruption. And so And we had pollution, bane of pollution, we had a bane of hard memories. Bane of pollution. We had a bane of addiction that we were dealing with. But prior to us going, I was given glimpses of how to stop them, ways for us to turn the tide before we even got there. All the dreams that I have, especially the ones of her, are ones that would terrify most, but they're all in decay. And there are ways to give warning for everyone to let them know of what is on the horizon for us.
Well, dreams in decay. Jason, do you have a preference?
No, I don't. I like either one.
Okay. I'll say Jason then, because that's what I remember.
It's good to see you,
sounds-
though.
Hmm?
It's good to see you, though.
It is, yeah. Especially after everything that happened with the Echoing Roots. Last I visited there, it was empty, and then I find out after the fact everything involving the Black Spiral Dancers. It's a lot.
Go ahead, Aspen.
Aspen kind of being put off by the first thing that Isidoro says about Jester is her being a terrorist. Kind of leans back in her chair. So you know specific things about us. Please let us know what you know. What have you heard about me?
Kent.
Yeah.
Obviously, we role-played through 2 seps, but not necessarily every character PC info came up. What would I have gleaned about Aspen?
So you would have learned that she is a lawyer, for certain, but that she is untested and eager and far too young to be a leader, especially over a place as perilous as Tampa, and that it's probably going to gobble her up eventually. You've heard that she is, as her name dictates, an oathbreaker, as she had sacrificed a cairn that several of the nation had come together to help her build, and has yet to pay for it in any way, but was clearly dismissed of all charges at a bow trial held by Matthias Morningkill, and that she's a tragedy in the waiting.
Upon being posed the question by Aspen, he will make eye contact with her before the grin falters a bit as he goes, I'm not very good at the etiquette of lies. So, Aspen.
Before you can
Oathbreaker.
finish, Charles speaks up. How are you here?
I'm sorry, Aspen. Is it customary for people not seated at the table to engage in conversation? I understand moots maybe have like a talking stick or something, but usually it's like, if you want to be part of the meet and greet, you have to gather around. No.
Isidoro, answer the question. How are you here?
I told you, friends call me Izzy. You can call me Ent.
And last I'd
Yeah.
heard, are you all right?
Am I all right? Why do you care?
Charles clears his throat, taking that with as much grace as he possibly can. Last I'd heard, you'd been betrayed. And one of them had turned.
Yeah, Paulo
Hollow.
killed me and behind my back. But it's not your pack anymore, so... I mean, you heard it on the vine. After how many years? I mean, it must suck. It must hurt to hear that.
Isidoro,
Yes?
I would ask that you be respectful in my cairn, please.
Forgive me. I've been on the road for a long time, and especially when people are trying to stir things up, it can be a bit hard to remember one's manners. I hope you forgive me.
Okay, but this is the thing, right? Because you came in saying you've heard all these good things, and that's why you came down here.
I would clarify, I've heard many things. Many of them good, but not all.
So you were trying to butter us up. But why? Because obviously you have some sort of, that's all passive aggressive, so you have some sort of like issue with Charles.
I do.
Why are you here, really?
Well, maybe Charles would be the one to give an idea.
No, he's
she
terrible at
asked you.
stories. He'll just give me like facts on his side. I want to hear your side, and then I'll ask his side.
I think in this moment, Izzy is really weighing the reason he came here against what Terrance managed to convince him of, to sort of be more amicable and open. As he sort of weighs the two in his mind, he loses that smile for a moment as he looks down at the table, sees the various symbols etched upon the wood, before his eyes flip back up to look at Jester specifically. Well, I'm kind of a pariah, though at this point, and you'll have to forgive me for saying this, because this is stuff I've heard from other Garu. This appears to be a sept of pariahs. More ways than one. Offense not meant by that. And so...
Eliza just takes it with a chuckle and like a kind of like a nod of her head.
And so, it is worth noting that I'm a member of the Garu Nation. And in order to preserve that which the nation values, I'm seeking something from that man over there. The man who would give me nothing, who walked away from everything, just turned his back. And I'm glad he seems to have made his home here. Charles Albrecht, Pact Breaker.
You act
And
as
I
if I
hope-
had a choice.
I don't want to hear you talk about choices. You pampered man. You walked away from us. I understand, okay? Maybe not everyone in the pack was happy to have you as leader, alright? Rapia, I know for a fact, hated your guts. Shadowlord, Silverfang, just name a more iconic antagonism. But Summer Song? Me? Mean? You walked away? You took the... Do you even know what happened to the Piercing Moonrise pack after you left? Did you hear anything outside of the more recent development that it's gone?
I never stopped listening. But they told me I couldn't contact you, that I was done with you, that I had to move on, but it's not that easy. Believe it or not, whatever they believed of me, I didn't want to go. And yeah, I heard what happened. And in that moment, believe it or not, and I hated them for it. But you know how I was made, why I was made, what they made me do.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Which is why it's kind of hard to believe you right now when you say that you were always keeping an eye out. Why didn't you just say that?
They would know if I tried to contact you.
Oh, come on. They would know. So what is this then? We're not good enough for that, but this lovely sept is, huh?
Y'all are the worst storytellers, I swear. Can somebody start at the beginning?
Okay, malicious Jester, who has taken a prominent role in what I had hoped to get out of Charles Albrecht. I will tell you about this man. He is the most selfish Garu I have ever met. He led our pack for years and then disappeared because his fucking uncle told him, apparently, that he had better shit to do.
I'm
And he
going to
didn't-
ask one last time. Decorum and respect in this cairn. To all of my pack. Is that understood, Isidoro?
Forgive me, the rage bubbles up. It's hard to talk about Charles Albrecht without expletives, but I will endeavor to do so as the old nation dictates.
Do not misunderstand, Isidoro. You have already disrespected Jester as well. So Charles is not the only one taking your fire today.
I apologize to those who call Charles packmate. May you never suffer his scorn.
He's not wrong. I was young, brash, entitled. This was to be my debut to the Garou Nation. My grandfather had a notorious story worthy of respect, so I needed one too. We were the hit squad, the cleaning crew, whatever they needed us to be. And I was to be their leader. Thrust upon them. But I was a Silver Fang, I was used to that. I expected that. And everything he says, he's not wrong. He's not wrong to be angry. He's not wrong to feel that way. He's not wrong to have a grievance with me. Say whatever you have to say to me, and I will take it. You deserve that much. But as Aspen said, respect Jester. She did nothing to deserve your ire.
Whatever. So did you murder a packmate and then leave, or did you just leave?
I was
Like-
taken and reassigned.
Okay.
But
To here?
no,
Is this, he's like part of your old pack, right? That you talked about before?
the first one.
Okay.
But no, I was taken and reassigned and told to consider that dealt with and move on. But you don't forget your first pack. You never do. And I was faced with the difficult choice to either continue to serve my family or betray them. Either way would have been no good. They would have made sure I never saw them again. They wanted me cold. They wanted me ruthless. They wanted me uncaring. You know, you met me.
Yeah. Okay. But this wasn't your last pack. This was your first pack. How long ago was this?
Years.
Oh,
3,
oh,
if I'm correct. Sounds like you've been counting the days, Ent.
3.5.
Turn back to easy. So that was 3.5 years ago. Like, did
Uh-huh.
the pack get destroyed like immediately after? I'm missing something here because that's 3.5 years that, like, and then you come and hunt him down now for something. I'm still not sure what that is, other than to argue. So, like, that's a long time to hold a grudge just for a packmate leaving.
I wanted to move on. I really did. But when the Piercing Moonrise pack was made, and we spent years together, there is a certain expectation that is placed upon you by the nation. And even if the reason the pack was made to begin with ups and leaves, all of a sudden, your burden, all that support, all that glory, that renown becomes ash. And it was slow at first, but it was insidious. Seeing the way every sept, every elder thought you something that was best to get rid of because Charles Albrecht wasn't the one leading. Charles, did you know that Duckhawk left as our pack patron, like immediately? We had to get a second one.
You know I've never been one for spirits, and
I know you haven't. I know.
Izzy, you're going on about how Guru culture, our rules, and how things are operated. All I'm hearing is that you're upset that Charles left. If you were given a similar order to go do so, would you have not have followed it? Or would you have broken some of the rules and stayed behind?
I didn't get to say goodbye or explain myself. That's what he's mad about.
Well, according to Guru culture, that's not required. And that's what he's going on about, is Guru culture and how this is operated. So it sounds like you're mad at the nation and not so much Charles. Yeah, he didn't say goodbye. That's it.
You deserved the explanation, and you deserved
I mean, Jason's right. By the nation, I was supposed to deal with it, not burden anyone else with the woes of the pack. How we missed you. Tried to follow your example, but I couldn't do it. And the nation saw weakness, which is about the worst thing for an Arun. So and at this, Izzy is trying to mete out the need to be, not the literal sense, but like the spiritual sense of being human with the like draconic rigidity of the Garu warrior culture, and they just sort of clash together in his head as he smiles a bit wider, tears welling up as he goes, so the only way to fix this is if I manage to get the right of leadership the right way. And then maybe the nation will fix the whole renown issue, and I can move on, and I could at least coax Summer Song about how me failing the pack in the moment was actually not entirely my fault, that I didn't have the mantle of leadership at the time, not really. And then maybe afterwards I could dive headfirst into a black spiral hive and find Paolo and gut him. And then when I'm dead, everything will be fine.
The nation is in shambles. What happened to you is exactly why this place needs to succeed, exist. They told me they were going to take care of you. They clearly lied. But it wouldn't be the first. You have no reason care what they think about you. And that's rich coming from me, I know. But if I could do it, so can you. Brother, I'm sorry.
And at this, I would like Izzy to make some sort of roll.
Potion resolve.
He's on a knife's edge.
Yeah.
Am I still at rage 2?
I'd say you're at rage 3 now, for sure.
Yeah. Two successes.
You are emotional, but you are not out of control.
As the rage threatens to boil up, there is this temporary moment where he feels his vision flux, the sort of like frenzy of a rage coming on before he pushes it back as he goes, okay. Why can't you hate me? Just challenge me, okay? Do it. Kill me.
I'm not that person anymore.
Then what fucking good are you, man? And with that, Izzy will stand up and storm off.
Yeah.
I would like to stand up and call out to Izzy. Isidoro.
He stops.
And I'll get as close as I can without it being uncomfortable. What do you need?
feel like... No, I don't feel like it. I am. I am a defender of Gaia. I don't need help.
We all need help. I'm sorry what the nation did to you. It's fucked. It's wrong. It's probably why we're losing. No, it is why we're losing. Because we fuck over our own as much as we fuck over everybody else that could be helping us. But sitting there saying you're a Garu and you can stand alone, it's not how packs work. It's not how we are supposed to work.
What do you need?
Izzy turns his head, staring at the entirety of the sept before him. Jester and Aspen, Jason, the various NPCs, like... Stops on Charles for a moment, and the rage flares up again as he wants to ask for that terminal wish before it sort of falters and he looks at Terrance.
Terrance has a wide-eyed, kind of shell-shocked expression, but then as you make eye contact with him, it softens, and he just nods slowly to you, conveying all that you've talked about, all that you've experienced in your short time together, conveying empathy and understanding, but also steadfastness.
With that affirmation, for the first time since arriving, Izzy's gaze hardens with a bit of conviction as he turns once more to study Charles. And it is a look of disdain. Of, I came here for you, and you disappointed me. And I have to be over you. Before returning once more to Aspen and going, the nation doesn't want anything to do with me. And I'm good at one thing. And I think I want to let off some steam. If you have something you need killing, let me know.
That's the funny thing about here, Isidoro. That's the old nation. They don't really have a say here. So if you want to be needed, you can be needed here.
Terrance calls over. I'll stay too. I think I've learned enough to not be a complete liability. And I think Izzy needs a friend to make him feel safe.
Well, now I have to stay, right?
He has that effect on people.
Is there some place that you use in the surrounding land to just let off steam?
She'll go to look at Charles, but then turn her head and look at Jester, knowing that Charles is probably not the person to do that right now.
Several places. Kind of way do you want to let off steam? Do you want to hunt? Do you want to break shit? Do you want to fight
Break
somebody?
shit, please. I don't want to look at Charles anymore. I've made a decision, and I fear the longer I stay here, I might change my mind. So, a needy request from your guest, I know.
Okay. Stand up. look to Eliza. Just, what to do with the leftovers that you're going to obviously be sending me.
Well, this is just disappointing at this point, but yeah, I can box it up.
I'll grab like something that I can eat with like one hand and be like, come on, big boy. Let's go break shit.
I would also like to walk over to Charles and just kind of, like, as they walk away, just kind of put my hand on his back.
He is possibly again for the first time drenched with sweat on his back, and he is rigid as a board in a way that isn't even Charles-like. And that's saying something. The guy's like granite most of the time. He just continues to watch Jester and Izzy walking off before they are just out of sight. He looks towards Terrance and says, please go with them. Terrance nods and hops up from the table. We didn't really plan beyond this point. I'll get you a room, Charles says. Okay. You got my number. He turns and quickly jogs after the pair in the woods. Expect the unexpected in Tampa. You came in looking for a fight. There's no saying that you won't get one, but it may come from the most unexpected place. A place of healing, a place of relaxing those tightly bound fists and letting that temporary soreness from holding on to a grudge for so long go. That takes time. And that time isn't tonight. That time isn't this place. But maybe it can be soon. We transition now to our next scene. Murphy, you have been on quite a ride yourself. A journey towards learning, understanding, and hopefully profiting off of the company known as Ballard, Anderson, and Baitman. Now, after that rather quirky individual Tumbleweed that you met, you were told that there's a gang war of sorts happening in downtown and to be mindful and watch out. So you pick a great time to investigate, the middle of the day when the streets are crowded, where there's lots of noise and plenty of people to prevent anything from getting too out of hand, but also provide a perfect cover for you to scout out your quarry, Ballard, Anderson, and Baitman. Now, the law office is positioned within one of the tallest, in fact, the tallest building in Tampa, 100 North Tampa, seated deep within the downtown area. A structure, a marvel of glass and steel and stone that rises high into the sky. And even after being battered by 2 hurricanes, it still stands defiant. You don't build up in Florida. The winds don't allow it. But those that stand in the face of all that, they are a marvel indeed. But right now, as you stand on the sidewalk looking up the tall, tall building, It looks like a mountain to climb, and you are the climber. What are you thinking in this moment, and what are you doing next?
So Murphy has considered a few different plans and has settled on what, in the inexperienced mind of this youthful hacker, wannabe criminal revolutionary, is the coolest plan. And so, staring up, chewing on gum as cars pass by and the crowds walk, Murphy's thinking to themselves, it's the most like stylistic of all the buildings. It almost has a gothic look to it. Go wonder that'd be where the bad guys would be. And what Murphy's done is Murphy has gotten a few things prepared. And so the nearest gym Murphy has signed up for on a discount, pulling some codes online, and has positioned in one of their lockers a bag with a change of 3 or 4 different outfits. And what Murphy's going to do is Murphy's going to spend the day watching people come and go. Murphy has this vision and is looking for a either lowly paid or unpaid intern who looks like they're probably fresh-faced to this law firm, who has to run coffee and moves quick, but has enough aspiration to also stop at the gym before or after their day at this office. So the plan is Murphy's going to watch and pick up any details on security. What kinds of people do they let in? Do they use badges? How do they get in the building? Who sits at the front desk all day? When do they switch? And also keep an eye on when people leaving enter that nearby gym that Murphy has established an easy way into. I've also prepared on my phone a quick app that'll let me clone a badge so that I can get to work on creating my own fake to get into the building after I see that person drop their bag off and start hitting weights.
Okay.
So Murphy's got a plan.
That is a plan indeed. Let's start with a wits and investigation to see what information you can glean from just looking at the place, studying the place, and watching it for the day.
That's 2 successes on 4 dice.
So it's a very busy location. Lots of people coming to and fro. And in fact, the law office isn't the only business in this building. There's art dealers, there's a complete technology firm. It is a well-trafficked location. And from what you can see, there is a lobby area with a security desk and a bank of elevators behind the security desk. It seems that those do need a badge to swipe at the security desk to be allowed to access the bank of elevators. However, it looks like there's also another set of elevators used for guests or business people going to certain businesses, but you're pretty sure they have to check in at the security desk first, giving their name, their reason for business, and receive a visitor's badge in order to go up to those businesses. There is a doorman that minds the door, letting people in and out, dressed in a sharp suit. You can tell that they are private security. They even have an earpiece in their ear. And from your guests, they're probably armed, but you can't say for certain. This is a well-fueled operation that goes here. It is sharp, it is shiny, it is precise. But through some watching, you do see employees come and go from their various businesses, and you're not quite able to pick out who's a lawyer and who's not, who works at the law firm necessarily, because even harried individuals, interns, can work at an art dealership or something like that. So it's really hard to pinpoint for sure. However, it does look like occasionally someone leaving the building does, with a gym bag over their shoulder, head over to the gym. So as you follow behind, heading into the gym yourself and getting into the locker room, you see them do their locker comm. You're not able to quite catch the numbers as it is pretty obscured. Everyone's so paranoid about safety these days, but they do open the locker, change into some gym clothes, putting their nicer wear away, folding it as best as possible before shoving it into the locker and closing it. Waiting for some of the other locker goers to pass, you find a ideal moment, few moments where the locker room is completely empty. Anybody who's either working out is in the gym already or has left for the day, as it is still early evening, late afternoon at this point. Some people are probably still working and it hasn't hit the high point of business for the evening just yet. The after work crowd not completely here yet. But the locker is in front of you. What would you like to do?
Thanking the information age for its bounty, Murphy has pulled up in the meantime and is listening on their earbud to a video about how to crack a master lock in less than 30 seconds. And is watching this video and scrolling back and has got an idea of how it's going to be done before scrolling up or rolling up to the locker and giving it a shot as soon as it's clear.
Give me a dex and larceny.
That would be 1, 2, 3, 4 successes on 5 dice.
The video must have done you some good, because easy enough, you get to work on the lock. Now, it's probably not as high tier of a lock as the one that you saw in the video, but what works, and the lock pops open, giving you access to the locker.
Excellent. I'm gonna quickly check over personal belongings, try to see if I can pull the ID if the wallet's still in here, definitely look for the badge if there is one, and slap my phone against it to scan any kind of RFID coming off of it and try to get myself the ability to clone that after.
Sure, give me another wits and investigation check. It's going to have to be quick, so the difficulty's a little bit higher, as anybody could come into the gym or the locker room at any moment, and you don't want to be caught in someone else's locker.
Only 1 success on my 4 dice.
Okay, so as you're scrambling through the bag, you do eventually find a wallet in the bag, but before you can open it and start looking through it, you hear footsteps, several sets of footsteps coming into the locker room, as well as a low murmur of talking.
Murphy's gonna do themselves a big favor and try to abuse social norms. Murphy's just gonna drop trow and start getting completely naked. Maybe pull a faux pas, but make it really difficult to look at them and examine which locker they're in and deal with that.
Sure. Give me a manipulation and subterfuge.
Really good roll. I got a 1 on 1 die, but I don't think that has any effect. And I got 2 10s.
Okay.
So that would be 4 plus the 9 and 7, so 6 successes.
Perfect. So easy enough. You go about business as usual, maybe making things even a little bit awkward to the point that they quickly move their way past you further into the locker room, around a corner to another bank of lockers nearby. You hear a little bit of maybe like murmuring or snickering, being like, did you see that fucking guy? But you've bought yourself the time you need to go through. You can either take the whole wallet with you to wrap this up quickly, or you can search through it if you'd like.
Ultimately, Murphy doesn't want to take a lot of time and definitely doesn't want to cause the kind of fuss that would come from a lost wallet. So just gonna slip the ID out, take a quick picture of it, try to get the RFID off the badge itself, and anything else of note, take a mental note of, but trying to slip everything back into the bag so it convincingly looks like it wasn't messed with.
Give me an intelligence and technology to see how well the RFID program works.
All right. I need to stop dropping my dice. That's at least a 10. That's 3 10s and then a 1 and an 8. So I think that's 7, because it'd be 6 and then plus 1 8.
Yeah, no problem. It works like a charm. You get the confirmation on the phone saying that it's been scanned and cloned. You do get the photo of the ID, and everything seems to have worked exactly as you wanted it to. So putting the wallet back in the bag, shove it into the locker, redo the lock, get yourself dressed, and you're set to go.
Murphy's now going to follow up on the second part of the plan, which would be to move pretty quickly, and is going to, on their phone, they start to play some synth pop, grab their stuff, move out of the gym, and they're going to walk to the nearest place they can buy a rental suit for the day and pick up like a messenger bag and pull the part of a convincing intern with handful of coffee to boot.
Getting all dressed up, done up. I'm going to keep your successes from your subterfuge to make a very convincing disguise. And just as you're ready to go, bag on your shoulder, everything good to go. Everything seems like it will be convincing enough. The ID definitely didn't look anything like you, but you're not positive they're going to have any way of knowing who's going in or coming out, so this should be convincing enough in your mind.
Yeah, and Murphy's plan here is really just hit fast, and this will be towards the end of the day. So if Murphy can time it right, it's right when a couple of people are walking in the building and are going to be getting towards those elevators. Murphy's going to approach with coffee in hand, pulling towards like a badge, but also holding the phone like there's too much going on, and then using the phone to trigger the RFID instead of the not actual badge in their hand, sort of struggling to carry the coffee and begging for someone to help them as they get the door, moving into a crowd rather than letting them be the only one at that one moment.
So you find a good crew getting ready to go into the building. You catch up to the back and start to make your way in, and suddenly you get tugged on the back of your suit jacket, pulling you back out of the crowd and onto the street as a voice says, "I wouldn't do that, buddy.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, what?
I wouldn't go in there if I were you." As you turn, you see a young man, maybe 20, 21 years old, with blonde hair, a sandy blonde hair, and he is muscular, like very, very muscular. He's wearing a jean jacket and a t-shirt for some kind of heavy metal band or something, Bad Wolves underneath his jacket. He's wearing very tight jeans and sneakers, and he's got a very like intense gaze to him, an almost predatory gaze to him as he looks upon you, and he says, "They're gonna know."
I'm so sorry. Do I know you? Listen, this coffee's got to get upstairs quick.
Wolves hunt sheep.
I don't know. Is this like a Wolf of Wall Street thing?
It's not Friday, buddy. Nobody's going to believe that you belong here. Plus, they have facial recognition. This place is top tier.
And who are you, I guess?
Not here. With me. And he turns and starts walking down the sidewalk.
Murphy is going to unceremoniously dump the entire stack of coffees into a trash can and continue walking with jogging to catch up a little bit as they tarry behind. So you ruined my incredibly badass entry for what exactly? You think I can't do this?
Yeah, and it would have been badass when the security caught you. Do you know what they do with security in that building? People don't go to jail.
Yeah, because in downtown Tampa, in the biggest glass building around, they make people disappear without knowing who they are.
You just...
That really...
Oh, go ahead.
Middle of the day, they're just gonna vanish me? Do they have a, like, chipper out back?
Listen, man. I'm part of a group that's been looking into this place for a while, and I can tell you, people have gone missing. And it's usually the people nobody notices, like yourself. I'm not saying this to be weird or creepy or anything like that. I'm trying to protect you, believe it or not, because I think you're on to something. But this isn't the way about it.
I don't know. I think it was gonna work pretty good. I had it all planned out, and I have this, and I pull out like a paper, and it's like an environmental group, and like, listen, these guys go up to bat for some pretty shitty companies. They were gonna think I was some kind of protester who tried to slip through security. Like, nothing bad was gonna happen, even if I got caught. They
It
were
was
just gonna think I
going
was up to
to
no good.
happen. You don't get this place. It isn't like a run-of-the-mill office building, okay? The people here... Just trust me on this one. I know it's a big ask, but if you want to go ahead after we've chatted, fine. I can't stop you. I'm not gonna force you to do anything. But I'm telling you, firsthand, you don't want to go in there not like this. There are things at work in a building like that that makes... Well, let's just put it this way. It makes Jeffrey Epstein look like a child care.
Okay, so they're really, really bad guys. I still think downtown it'd be kind of hard for them to do something, but I'm gonna accept your wisdom, and I've already thrown away the $20 worth of coffee that I spent on this, so these guys suck and they can kill me, and I definitely shouldn't go in there half-cocked. Message received. Who are you, and how can you get me in there or figure this next step out? Because that was kind of like my whole thing.
I totally get it, and I promise I'll make it up to you. My name is Kyle. I'm part of a group of friends that are very much interested in knocking down the people who need to be knocked down a peg. And if you are of a like mind, maybe we can work together. Maybe we can work something out. We are pretty well funded. We've got a good group of people. You don't have to do something like this alone. You're not a lone wolf, are you?
More dog puns. Listen, I think that this is generally going pretty well so far, and I don't know if it's just a stroke of good luck or if I've started really taking to tarot readings, because everything that pops up seems to be going in my favor. So I'll take it, Kyle. My name's Murph, and yeah, let's figure out how to get in there and do it right. But I'm gonna be honest, the whole scouting it out and yanking me right before I get in thing isn't selling me on the confidence that you know how to get in there, just that you don't know how to get in there.
It's not about getting in there, Murph. It's about getting them to come out here. That building might as well be fucking Fort Knox, okay? Probably better than Fort Knox. But
Rumor has it Fort Knox is empty, and I know you're saying get them out here, but I don't see what the benefit of that is. I just need to get one of these, and I'm gonna pull out like a little device in there near like where they have their Wi-Fi set up, and even if they've got a pretty good system, I can get somebody stupid to fall for it. I'm pretty sure that's gonna give you everything you need to take down this Epstein type ring that's going on in there.
pretty good system. You know, if you were anybody else, I'd say go for it, try it. But I am giving you an opportunity to not waste your potential by going in there and finding out just how bad it can be, when there is so much more that you can do if you do it our way.
Heard, Mr. Miyagi. I will wax on, wax off. Tell me what I need to do next, because sitting out here is really not doing any more good.
I totally get it. Here, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small slip of paper that looks like it has a phone number written on it. You call this number, we'll set up a meet. We're obviously a little shy about new people, but I knew when I saw you that you were going to be somebody worth recruiting. Trust me on this, it'll change your life.
I hope so. I had to show 4 strangers my dick to get in that front door, and you stopped the whole thing, so this better be pretty big.
You won't have to worry about that if you take our offer. And he hands you the slip of paper. I hope to hear from you.
Oh, you will. I canceled my plans the rest of the week just in case I did get arrested, so.
Well, you would have needed a lot more than a week, trust me. And he pats you on the shoulder and says, "You're making the right choice." And then turns and starts to walk away.
Taking the slip of paper, Murphy's gonna watch as he walks away for a minute, and then start to walk back towards the rental place where they picked up the suit. Thinking to themselves and playing more synth pop just to drown out the noise of the city.
Give me a wits and awareness check as you watch him depart.
Awareness, there it is. Only 1 success on 5 dice.
Yeah, he just disappears from sight, eventually blending into the crowd that's walking down the sidewalk. You go return the suit to the shop that you bought it from, making sure not to waste the money of keeping it. And as you return home with that slip of paper in possession, what's going through your mind about this entire encounter today?
Murphy is had now probably the better part of an hour on this walk and returning and gathering up their bag again to consider that there's a pretty good chance they were walking into a meat grinder, that maybe the bravado was unfounded, and there's probably a couple of moments of spiking panic as Murphy's wondering, like, this is pretty serious, I guess. I, thought that these guys were probably just run-of-the-mill shitty lawyers and taking them down was more symbolic than anything, but these guys aren't entropy, they're the real nasty type, and Murphy's wondering just how much more luck they have considering the fortune of bumping into 2 or at least maybe now 3 almost guardian angel types, very friendly and not having fallen for anything really bad kind of traps. Mulling that over, Murphy's going to make a few phone calls and plan to waste the rest of the evening after that setup for that meet, playing video games and eating cheap pizza to get their mind off of it.
Give me a quick wits and insight before we move on.
1 success on 4 dice.
As you're thinking about the encounters that you've had over the past few days, you truly are lucky, because revolution isn't easy. If it burns hot and it burns fast, it goes out. Something your parents always said, especially your father. But it's also very convenient, maybe too convenient. But you won't know until you discover more. And with that, we move on to our final scene of the evening. Jester, you have had a lot on your plate this past couple of days. The arrival of someone from Charles's past that seemingly unnerved him to his core. it's a lot. The return of Terrance, which is a good thing, but also what did he bring with him? And what kind of trouble is that going to cause? But amidst all of that, there's that nagging reminder in the back of your head. Gibbous, Ravenclaw. You were tasked with reaching out and trying to make inroads, but you also just find yourself missing them in times like this, no matter how much you've left on not the best of terms. You've tried to call several times in the past. No answer. Voicemail, inbox full. But you think maybe one last try. For now, at least. You pick up the phone. You find the contact that says Gibbous. And you call. As the phone is ringing, what's going through your mind?
Kind of just, she's probably not going to answer. I should probably hang up now. One more ring. Two more rings.
Just as that ring, that final ring, you've sworn to yourself, this is it, you're going to hang up. Phone picks up. Jester?
Hi.
Hey, sorry. You know how Raven can be. She's been very protectory, you know, big shiny armor, but I couldn't let you keep calling and not answer. How are you? Is everything okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I mean, a lot's happened since. How are you? I heard you weren't so great the last time I actually talked to Raven, but like, are things gotten better?
It was off for a little while. I was a little bit depressed, but that's the risk with these things, right? That's a risk we have to take to keep things going. I'm okay, Jess, I promise you. She's just so overprotective. Sometimes it feels suffocating, but I don't think I'd have her any other way.
Yeah, hey, I'm sorry for what happened to you. I never got a chance to say it.
Thank you, Jess, but that's really not necessary. I was there for you, to support you. And whatever decisions had to be made to do what was done, I'm sure it was made with the best intentions. I know that anywhere you are is going to be a good place. And if it's not a good place, it's going to do everything in its power to become a good place. And sometimes you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet.
I mean, we're trying, but I don't want you to be the eggs that are broken.
It was like a migraine for a few days, and then I just felt drained for a while, but I'm better. I'm okay. I'm okay. And I don't think you were discarding us. I think you're young, despite your, 6 years now of being a guru? Yeah, I remember. You're still figuring it out, and you're figuring it out in the most unusual of circumstances. You don't have elders there to lead the way. You don't have tradition but that's what makes it important. That's what makes it special.
I wouldn't be lying to say that I kind of think it's better, honestly. Some of those traditions, I think, are really harmful to us. No, they're really harmful to us.
Yeah. I know. And Raven is very much about the traditions. You remember, she was live or die by the nation. And as much as I've softly tried to impress upon her, there isn't a nation to live by anymore. It's just a bunch of fractured groups thinking that they know best, and it's tearing us all apart. I know you're right. And I know we need something to unify behind, but you know her. If I don't support her, it hurts her. And she'll take what I say, but she takes it with the biggest grain of salt. She's not forcing me to support her or anything crazy like that. If anything, I feel like she could extend a little bit of the gentleness she shows me to the others from time to time. But when there's no machine to fight, nothing to rebel against, you find something to rebel against, even if it's the thing you shouldn't. The power to take down the rising empire in her mind that you are becoming. And yeah, when she saw that it hit her at home, the place she feels the most protective of and safe, well, threw her off really bad.
We're not much of an empire.
Well, I know that. I couldn't see you being part of an empire. But you gotta see it how they see it. You're going against the grain. And that reminds them of the Stargazers and the cult of Fenris. To them, you're no different. Especially with Eliza, they think you're brainwashed.
Yeah. On kind of that discussion, Aspen and I would like to start figuring out how our sept and the sept of the Unbroken can make amends to start off with, and maybe start talks on how to do that.
Yeah. Artie had mentioned that when he was here. Boy, did she put him through the ringer just for even being here. It's a tough hill to climb right now, Jess. Not impossible. I don't believe anything's impossible. And I know with time, Raven will see reason. But I think that the best thing you can do is convince some of the others. If you can get some of the others on board and word gets back here that you're not a cult, that you're not, straying, and I know you're not, of course I know. You're not that simple. If you can get the others convinced, I'm sure she'll come around. Talk to Duncan. Duncan's a great start. He's close to us and has been an ally many times in the past. If you get him on board, that'll be a big step in making things better with Raven.
Okay.
But I want you to know something. I know the two of you parted on really bad terms. He still cares about you. He still worries about you. But she deals with worry by getting angry, frustrated. She's not somebody who deals with that feeling of being out of control of the things she cares about very well, which is kind of ironic considering our tribe.
Yeah.
But she just wants you to be safe. She just wants to protect you, and she wants you to succeed. And I know you are. I believe you are, because you would take nothing less. But it's in a way she can't come to terms with yet. And pushing it upon her would be not a great idea. She does not get moved by anyone else other than me from time to time.
It's fair,
It's the reason we have the name.
right? Okay.
Give
I
me
will-
something good. Tell me about you. Tell me what amazing things you're doing or how you're staying happy amidst all this terrible, terrible existence.
I mean, there's a lot of both, I guess. I stare at the phone for a second. What do I say? I mean, I don't know if you ever found out, Chloe turned out to be a Ghislaine, so like I actually get to talk to her about things, which is really, really nice. It was really hard keeping the secrets from her.
Yeah, I know. You'd struggled with that for a long time. That's so
Yeah.
great.
I mean,
The two of you were meant to be together.
yeah. Kind of like sisters forever, I guess. The Sept is doing well. We just stopped a it's really weird to explain, but a Pentex plot. Let me just put it like that, like a plot with weird plants that turn people into like zombies.
Ugh.
But we stopped that, and we like defeated the people who were masterminding it, and things seem pretty chill at the moment.
Good. Good. You deserve a break. I pay attention to what's going on down there as best as I can. News is slow to get up this far north, but I know when they say that, you're all being heretical terrorists, that means you're doing the right thing. You're doing the good thing. Because you're right.
Probably.
This needs to be shaken up. And if there's anyone who can do it and lead the charge on it, it's my Jester.
You have a lot of faith in me.
Oh, I know. It's not misplaced, Jess. Never has been. You need to have the same kind of faith in you. Because you are amazing and capable of incredible things.
Thanks. I really miss talking with you, and it's kind of hard to talk about everything on the phone. There's so much we have to talk about, like...
Well, Raven was for the beatings, I was for the nurturing. That's our dynamic.
Yeah. But I have so many stories to share with you, and it's really frustrating that I can't see you and tell you them.
You hear some shuffling on the other end of the line before she says, "And you will, again, real soon. But I'm so sorry, sweetie. I have to go. I love you so much, and keep calling. Don't give up."
Okay.
With that, the phone hangs up. As you stare at your cell phone, even though the call was only a few minutes compared to countless times you tried, and the countless times you didn't, out of guilt or anger or frustration, it was nice to know that she was okay, first and foremost, but also, he's still Gibbous. and everything that entails. And maybe, just maybe, there's hope for the new nation yet. You just gotta crack that gigantic Amazonian-sized boulder that is Ravenclaw. And that is not going to be easy. With that, our story comes to a close this evening. But of course, not without one last scene. Outside of a mansion in Vermont, Morning Kill Mansion, as it's dubbed, having been the home place of Jonah Morningkill way back in the past. It has been the seat of power to the Garoon Nation ever since Jonas Albrecht claimed the Silver Crown. It's a ghost of what it once was. But that ghost still has some kick. Because a large mountain of a man with a long white mane that falls to his shoulders and a big white beard, scars decorating his face, exits the manor. He has a bag over his shoulder, and he's dressed as finely as the minimum is for a Silver Fang. But even on the white button-up shirt that he's wearing, a few flecks of blood can be seen upon the shirt, dried, long dried, and brown. The blood of a pupil from long ago. The blood of Charles Albrecht on the shirt of his mentor, known as Iron Oath. Volkov from Russia is off to drag the prodigal son home, one way or another. And this is where our story comes to a close. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you to everybody for watching at home. Go sign up for the Ko-fi so that you can see the rosebud thorns of this very episode, which is posted on the Ko-fi shortly after the episode is posted to YouTube. So get signed up. It's as low as $5 a month, and it really supports this game, this channel, the Tampaverse, the community. All kinds of things are really helps us and means a lot. Go follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media listed down below, and tune in this Friday to a new episode of Hellhounds over on YouTube. For these amazing players, I'm Kent. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.